Okay, so I'm awake. I've eaten lunch. I'm ready to go. The next thing we're going to do is this little piece on the little table here. Really simple, and the great thing about it is we're going to cheat and use Max's built-in teapot. Now, I know I said we weren't going to use a lot of built-in things, and I think this is probably the only thing we're going to use that comes with Max already, is this little teapot. Let's open up Max if we can. Alright. Now I'm going to hide everything. Right click and hide selection. I'm going to hide everything but the table because I want to use it for scale. Since I don't really have a scale of that little teapot set, I'm going to use this. Alright, so the first thing I saw is that these things are cylindrical. And these little things right here that it's sitting on just look like half cylinders. This thing looks really simple to make, so let's do it. So I'm going to make a cylinder, just give it some height, like so. Make sure I hit Alt W, not Alt Tab. And then I'm going to bring that into here. And if I look at it, it looks like it almost goes across the whole table. Of course, my table might be wider than it's supposed to be, even though I measured it right, it still looks kind of off. But I'm going to add some height to this, about like so. Alright. As far as radius is concerned, just to kind of compare it, it's kind of big, maybe about an inch or so, like that. Take it down a notch. Alright, I'm going to add a gray material to it. Alright, I'm going to right click this. I'm going to leave it at 18 segments, that's fine. Convert it to an editable poly. Hit F4 so I can see my edges. And then zoom in on it some. Control click the other side and do an inset. And I'm going to only do an inset of about 1/8. And then I'm going to bridge in between it. There we go. And now we have the hole in there, like so. I don't think I'm going to chamfer the edges on this little thing. So you can do it if you want to, but I don't think I'm going to. Alright, and then I look at the picture and it seems like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, about 15 of those little ones are in there. What I'm going to do is shift drag out a copy, click OK, and then I'm going to select the polygons, go up here, I'm going to hit F3 to take it out of shaded because I don't need it anymore, and delete that. And because they look smaller than the actual ends, I'm going to scale it somewhat. And then just bring it back into place. I'm actually going to line the top up here and then just pull it over. Like that. Yeah, that looks good. And I'm going to do 15 of those, and I want to name these before I do it. Because at the end, we're going to have a lot to name if I don't start now. T cylinder 01, and then I'll just copy this and I'll just paste it, make it 02. That way we can have that. So there's about 15 of these. They're going to be touching, so I'm going to go about 14 copies like so. There we go. And I'm going to take this end piece and shift drag out the end and make sure it's touching there. Okay. And it's sitting on a little box thing, which obviously is going to be one of the easier things to make. Goes about halfway inside it. Give it some height. Okay, let's see. I want to make sure I select it first so I can see it. It's way over here. Okay. And I kind of like this width of it instead of the long width. I think that's what I'm going to do with it. So I'm just going to go to the edge here of it. And then I'm going to convert it to an editable poly. Take these and bring it to the edge, the short edge right here. And then with this, I'm just going to slide it down some. Really didn't need all of these rings, but whatever. Can easily get rid of those. And I'm about to, actually. I'm going to select this ring, control selecting them, hit loop, and then I'm going to control click remove, and that will make sure that I get all the vertices that were in here too. Get rid of those, because we don't need all of these individual rings like that. There's no point in having it. Of course, we got a million of these now, but yeah, I can always redo it. Okay, so I'm going to delete that one, bring this one over to here. Okay, make sure that it's touching the rest of them. Alright, and just to get rid of those additional polygons, I'm just going to select this one and do the same thing I just did, because we don't need it. There's no point in having them. If we were going to add like bamboo, you know, the little ridges that are on bamboo, I would do it, but I don't want to add so many polygons. So control click remove and get rid of those. Then go back into my front view, and I'll shift drag out another 14 copies. They should all be touching, and at the end, looks like it's a little short. Just bring it in right there. And that's about halfway in there. And I'll do the same on this side. I'll just drag it over a little bit, make it halfway inside it. Okay, so we have that. Make sure I add gray to this. Alright, you'll probably want to chamfer this at least, because it looks really hard. So let me do that. Just take the top and get under here at the bottom. Control click the edges, and then just do a chamfer. Really slight chamfer. Okay. That helps that. And like I said, you can chamfer the edges of this thing too, and make it look a lot better. But I'm just not going to do that right now. All right, now for the cheat. I'm just going to create that teapot on here. Bring it up. All right, put the gray material to it. I'm going to turn it around 180 degrees, like so. It has a little ridge on it, I noticed. It has a little ridge right there. We can do that. We can fake that. Bring up my edges. Alright, I'm going to leave everything as is, right click and convert it to an editable poly. I'm going to select this edge right here, and I'm going to loop it. And then I think what I'm going to do is, let's, I don't know, let's chamfer it. Chamfer it slightly. I'll select the ring in here, and we'll do a connect, and then I'll scale that out some. And then what this will do is when I add a turbo smooth on top of it, we'll kind of give it that fake little ridge right there. You know, it's not going to be perfect as the other one, since I don't feel like doing a whole new teapot for the heck of it. The other one didn't have a handle, so I'm going to go into element mode, select that, and just delete it. Alright, so now we have that. It does have one of those arc-like handles over it, and that's easy enough to make. We can go to our splines and go to arc. So we can click right here, click and drag, and then let go of the mouse button and drag up. And then we can create one of those. Then we can just go enable in renderer, enable in viewport, and bring the thickness down to something reasonable for the size of that thing. Make sure that we put it in place, you know, about center way. so. Give it a gray material, like that. Alright, we can turn off the turbo smooth on that right now because we don't need it. And this slowing down my viewport a little bit while I'm recording. So that kind of looks decent enough. And then it has two cups on it, so I'll go into the top view and go back to cylinder, and I'll create a cup. It looked pretty thick, so I'll go to here, F4 so I can see my edges, and have it sit on here a little bit like so. It's a little bit too big, so I'll lower the height on it, the radius a little bit like that. Looks good enough for me. Give it gray material. These height segments we can take down, we don't need them. Right click it, convert it to an editable poly, we'll call it cup 1. Cup 01, that's fine. And this of course is teapot, and this is teapot handle. And we go back to the cup. We'll take this, we'll inset it. Inset it a little bit, just in case we get a top shot, you never know. Hit OK, and then we'll extrude, but we're going to extrude down. And it really doesn't matter how far you go because these are solid finishes. It's just going to be a matte, it's not glass or anything. So I think what I'll do though is take these top edges. Oops. Excuse me. Good old 3D Palace love. And let's see, loop this, and then we're going to chamfer. Just chamfer just a little bit, like so. If we ever want to make these smoother, we can always just let me see here, auto smooth. We can always add a turbo smooth to the whole thing. So I'm going to take this cup 01 and I'm just going to drag out a copy right here. Just kind of move it over here. Control click both, kind of put them in position. Give them something fancy like that. And there we go. Alright, I'm going to hide this as soon as Mac stops freezing. This is the perils of working on a laptop, is that everything will freeze on you as soon as you select something. So, hide selection, take this, I'm going to group it and call it my centerpiece, like that, and unhide all. With that selected, I'll kind of center it a little bit better. Yeah, and there we go. Centerpiece is done. Okay, so in the next vid what we're going to do is that little candle thing that's down here and then the rug, and we're going to call the living room done, do a little bit of cleanup of name work, and bring it into the actual apartment itself. So I'll see you in the next vid.